Did you know that you can run marathons, eat clean, and have zero symptoms, yet still have a silent blockage threatening your brain? It sounds impossible, but your nervous system is so adaptive that it can mask compromised blood flow until the moment everything shuts down. This is why strokes are the #1 cause of long-term disability in adults, and most people have zero warning until it's too late. In this video, I'm going to show you why the seemingly healthy brain fails, how your body hides these ticking time bombs, and what an ancient healing system from India figured out about prevention thousands of years ago. Plus, I'll teach you how to become the expert of your own body so you can catch problems long before any doctor ever would. But first, I want to ask you, have you or someone you know experienced stroke symptoms that came out of nowhere? Let's talk about it in the comments. To understand why someone who seems perfectly healthy can have a stroke, we need to first look at what's actually happening inside your skull. Your brain is only 2% of your body weight, but it demands 20% of your blood supply. To feed this beast, you've got a network of major arteries pumping oxygen-rich blood upward against gravity from your heart to your brain every single second of your life. You can think of it like circulation highways with two main thoroughfares. There's the carotid arteries, which run up the front of your neck, and the vertebral arteries on the backside along your spine. These supply your entire brain with the oxygen and nutrients it needs to function. Some strokes start in the large arteries outside the brain, like the carotids in your neck, while others form inside the smaller vessels deep within the brain itself. Different locations, same process. Here's the problem. If one of these highways gets blocked, your brain has limited alternate routes. So basically, half of us are walking around with incomplete backup circulation and nobody's the wiser. Fun stuff, right? Now, there are two types of strokes, ischemic and hemorrhagic. About 87% of all strokes are ischemic. This is when a blood clot blocks an artery and starves the brain tissue of oxygen. Hemorrhagic strokes are when a vessel ruptures and bleeds into the brain. Both are catastrophic, but today we're focusing on ischemic strokes because they're the silent killers hiding in plain sight. Here's what blows people's minds. You can have a severe blockage in one of your brain's arteries and feel completely normal. How? Because your body is a master adapter. As arterial plaque gradually builds over several years, your brain develops what's called collateral circulation. Basically, tiny backup vessels reroute blood around the obstruction. Think of it like your brain paving side streets when the highway gets congested. But when we look to ancient wisdom, things get really interesting. Ayurveda, which is India's traditional medical system, looks at the body as an interconnected whole rather than as a collection of separate parts. And one of its core teachings is that disease doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It develops over many years through 6 distinct stages. Here's the thing. Western medicine doesn't start paying attention until symptoms start presenting, but by then you're at stage 5 of 6. But if you can recognize the earlier stages, you can intervene long before disaster is a possibility, and even before any doctor would have anything to diagnose. Stage 1 is accumulation. Something in your system starts building up in excess. At this stage, you might notice very subtle things. You've become a lighter sleeper. Your digestion isn't quite as strong. Maybe you're slightly constipated or a bit more tired than usual. Most of us ignore these early whispers. Stage 2 is aggravation. Now that excess is overflowing and starting to spread, and the symptoms get more noticeable. These are things like persistent brain fog, ongoing fatigue, and stubborn digestive issues. But if you go to the doctor, they'll run tests and tell you everything's normal. Spoiler alert, it's not. Stage 3 is spreading. The imbalance is now traveling through your body looking for a weak spot to take hold. This is when plaque starts forming in your arteries, but you still feel fine. Stage 4 is localization. The problem finds a vulnerable tissue and starts damaging it. That plaque deposit is now hardening in your arteries, but you're still running your marathons with zero symptoms. Stage 5 is manifestation. Finally, obvious symptoms appear. This is when Western medicine goes, okay, now we see it, now we can treat it. But here's the problem. By this point, the disease has been brewing for years, maybe even decades. A stroke happens at the end of stage 5 as one of two scenarios. Either plaque in a brain artery ruptures and triggers a clot right there on the spot, or a clot that formed somewhere else in your body, like in your heart, travels through your bloodstream and gets stuck, thus blocking blood flow to the brain. Stage 6 is permanent disability from complications and ultimately death. Consider this. If you wait until you have obvious symptoms to address your health, you're already almost at the end of the line. So, what causes plaque to build up in the first place? Modern medicine will tell you it's high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and inflammation. They're not wrong, but they're only looking at the end result, and we want to address the root cause. In Ayurveda, there are 3 fundamental energies that govern everything in your body. They're called doshas. Think of them like a workforce that operates as a team. Each energy has its specific job. There's Vata, which governs all movement like circulation, nerve signals, and muscle coordination. There's Pitta, which governs transformation, think digestion, metabolism, and body temperature. And there's Kapha, which governs structure. That's lubrication, stability, and tissue growth. When these 3 energies work together in balance, you're healthy. When they're out of whack, disease begins. And for strokes specifically, we're looking at Vata imbalance. In plain terms, it's not just that circulation slows down, it's that movement gets blocked by buildup, so the signal can't get through cleanly. Now here's where it gets really practical. Ayurveda says that most chronic disease comes down to 2 core issues, weak Agni and Ama. And stay with me because I'll explain what both of those mean. First, let's talk about Agni, which is your digestive fire. Think of it like a furnace in your gut. When Agni is strong, food gets fully broken down, nutrients get absorbed, and waste gets eliminated. But when Agni is weak or disrupted, food doesn't get completely digested. Instead, it turns into Ama. Basically, a sticky, toxic sludge made up of undigested food and waste that your body couldn't eliminate. And that sludge doesn't just sit in your gut. It circulates through your entire system looking for a place to set up camp. Now, your body has several different pathways, which Ayurveda calls srotas, but we're just going to call them channels from here on out, just to make things easier. Here's the connection. Plaque is literally hardened gunk stuck to the walls of your arteries. The pattern is this. When digestion is weak, sticky waste accumulates, travels through channels, creates inflammation, and eventually blocks flow. Research shows that chronic inflammation is a major driver of arterial plaque. And what causes inflammation? Poor gut health. Studies have found that people with compromised microbiomes have significantly higher rates of cardiovascular disease and stroke. Here's what happens. When your microbiome is out of balance, 2 things go wrong. First, bad bacteria produce inflammatory compounds that damage your arterial lining and promote blood clotting. Second, your gut lining becomes permeable, which allows these toxins to leak into your bloodstream. Your immune system sees this as an emergency, sends inflammatory cells to patch the damage, and boom, plaque starts forming. Basically, bad gut bacteria create toxic byproducts that wreak havoc on your cardiovascular system. Now let's talk about your liver because it's intimately connected to your gut. Your liver processes fats, filters toxins from your blood, and produces bile to help digestion. If your liver is sluggish, it can't metabolize cholesterol and fats properly. That poorly processed cholesterol then oxidizes, gets sticky, and contributes to plaque formation in your arteries. But here's the good news. A healthy gut produces short-chain fatty acids which protect blood vessels, reduce inflammation, keep arterial walls flexible, and keep your liver working efficiently. When digestion is strong and gut bacteria are balanced, your entire body benefits, including your brain. Everything leads back to digestion. Your gut health determines your vascular health, immune function, mental clarity, energy levels, and more. This is why Ayurveda has always stressed gut health as your #1 priority. Fix the digestion, clear the toxic buildup, and you stop disease at stage 1 before it ever progresses. So what flips the switch from silent plaque to sudden stroke? As we've learned, it's the same concept as a heart attack: plaque rupture. Imagine you have this soft, unstable plaque sitting in your carotid artery, and it's covered by a thin cap. If you experience a sudden spike in blood pressure, that cap can tear. When it ruptures, your body sees it as an emergency and sends platelets to form a clot. Within minutes, that clot grows large enough to completely block the artery, which means blood flow to a section of your brain stops, and brain cells start dying within 4 minutes of losing oxygen. This is called an ischemic stroke. But there's another scenario that's even sneakier. Sometimes a blood clot forms somewhere else in your body and travels through your bloodstream like a tiny assassin until it gets stuck in a narrow brain artery. This is called an embolic stroke. You go from perfectly fine to paralyzed in seconds, and you have no idea why, because the problem didn't even start in your brain. Here's the tragic part. For many people, the first symptom of a stroke is the stroke itself. No warning, no alarm bells. And by the time you realize something's wrong, brain tissue is already dying. In Ayurveda, this sudden collapse makes perfect sense through the lens of Vata. Remember, Vata is the energy that governs all movement. When Vata gets aggravated by things like chronic stress, poor sleep, and overstimulation, it dries out your tissues and constricts your channels. Over time, this creates the perfect environment for blockages to form. Modern science confirms that stress hormones damage the arterial lining, making it easier for plaque to stick and inflammation to rage, with one study showing that people with high chronic stress levels have a 59% higher chance of stroke. Before we go on, if you're finding value in this, hit those like and subscribe buttons. So what are the actual symptoms of a stroke? To remember this, we teach the acronym F.A.S.T because time is of the essence when it comes to strokes. F is for face drooping. One side of the face goes numb or droops when you try to smile. A is for arm weakness. You can't lift one arm or it drifts downwards. S is for speech difficulty. Your words come out slurred or you can't speak at all. And T is for time to call emergency services immediately. But here's what most people don't know. Women and younger people often have atypical symptoms like sudden severe headache, confusion, vision loss, dizziness, or even nausea. These don't fit the classic F.A.S.T criteria, so they often get confused for other things until it's too late. If you feel a sudden, unexplained shift in your neurological function, don't second guess yourself. Get help. So now let's talk about the subtler warning signs that you can look out for long before a stroke is even on the horizon. When Vata is out of balance, you might experience things like tremors, twitching, numbness, tingling, or an inability to focus. When Pitta is excessive, you get headaches, burning sensations, intense anger, or you might see spots. When Kapha accumulates, you feel heavy, dull, lethargic, and it takes forever for your brain to wake up. Ayurveda teaches you to notice the whispers before they become screams. Your body sends quiet requests for assistance in stages 1 through 4. Stage 5 is the scream. And that's exactly what we're going to focus on now: how to prevent this from ever happening by becoming the expert of your own body. Because by the time you think you need to get screened for stroke risk, you're already pretty far down the road. The real power isn't in waiting for a doctor to tell you something's wrong. It's in learning to recognize early warnings that conventional medicine would dismiss as one of the biggest pieces of misinformation ever: normal aging. All right, let's go over how to stay ahead of the curve. First, strengthen your digestive fire because everything starts here. As we just learned, if your digestion is strong, food gets fully broken down and absorbed. That means no toxic buildup clogging your channels. Ayurveda recommends eating freshly cooked meals with healthy fats and digestive spices. Studies show that people who eat warm, cooked, easy-to-digest foods have lower systemic inflammation than those who eat cold, raw, or heavily processed foods. Research has also shown that turmeric reduces arterial plaque, ginger improves circulation, and black pepper enhances nutrient absorption. These spices aren't just for flavor, they're medicine. But here's what matters more than what you eat. It's how and when you eat. Your body thrives on rhythm, so eat at regular times every day and eat your biggest meal at midday when your digestive fire is strongest. Also, try not to eat after dark. This is intermittent fasting built right into nature, which gives your body the time and space it needs to rest and repair overnight instead of constantly digesting. Also, sit down and eat mindfully while chewing your food thoroughly. That means no eating in your car or standing at the counter. These may sound like grandma rules, but they're actually foundational to preventing toxic accumulation. Turns out, grandma knew what was up. Second, support your body's natural detox pathways. Ayurveda recommends practices like oil pulling, dry brushing, and periodic simple cleanses. I know, it sounds like this just turned into a wellness influencer video, but these aren't fads. They're ancient maintenance protocols that modern science is actually validating. Third, balance vata with routine, warmth, and grounding practices. Remember, if vata gets out of control, your nervous system goes haywire. This means doing things like going to bed at the same time every night and waking up at the same time each morning. Chaos might sound exciting, but it ages you fast. Another vata balancing practice is something called abhyanga. This is a self-massage with warm sesame oil that you let absorb into your skin for 20 minutes before your shower. Research shows that regular massage reduces cortisol levels and improves vascular function. Warm oil nourishes your skin, calms your nervous system, and quite literally greases the wheels of circulation. Aim to do this 2 to 3 times per week. I promise your body will thank you. Fourth, move your body intentionally. Activities like walking, yoga, tai chi, swimming, and weightlifting are all ideal for building collateral circulation without stressing your system. Now, I want to be very clear here. High-intensity exercise is fantastic, and you should absolutely challenge yourself at any age. The idea that older people or people with certain body types shouldn't push themselves is outdated nonsense that creates fear and sedentary behavior. You can train yourself into being capable of intense exercise well into your 80s and 90s. The key is progression. What Ayurveda actually warns against is sudden, sporadic intensity without preparation, like going from couch potato to marathon runner overnight, or doing extreme workouts when you're sleep deprived and stressed. That creates vata chaos. Build your capacity gradually, work with skilled teachers, and honor the signals your body sends you. Fifth, manage your stress. And I don't mean in a take a bubble bath kind of way. I mean actually regulating your nervous system through practices like spending time in nature, meditation, and pranayama, which is a sophisticated science of using breath to influence your energy and physiology. One study found that people who meditate regularly have thicker, healthier carotid arteries and better blood flow to the brain. We made a video on a meditation technique using a candle flame that's incredible for mental focus and calming vata. There's also an herb called Shankapushpi that's been used for centuries to support brain health and reduce anxiety. We did a whole video on that too. I'll leave links to both of them on the end screen. Speaking of herbs, Westerners have a tendency to hear this herb is healthy and start dumping it into every smoothie or taking it daily indefinitely. That's not how this works. Different herbs have different energetic effects. Some are heating, some are cooling, some balance all 3 doshas. You need to use them strategically so you don't throw yourself out of whack. For instance, ashwagandha is heating and amazing for stress and hormones, but if you're taking it every day all summer long when pitta is already high, you're just creating more imbalance. Herbs are medicine, and medicine should be used wisely, not habitually. Work with a practitioner who can guide you, or at minimum, cycle your herbs. Take them for a few weeks or months, then give your body a break. No supplement should be taken every day forever. Now here's where we talk about empowerment. Yes, modern screening methods exist, and these are valuable tools that you can use if you have risk factors. But here's what I really want you to understand. No machine, no doctor, no practitioner on this planet is more of an expert on your body than you are. You live in it 24/7. You feel every sensation and every shift in energy. The problem is, most people have completely disconnected from their bodies. In modern life, it's become the norm to ignore and suppress signals. People override fatigue with caffeine, dismiss digestive issues with antacids, and chalk up brain fog to just getting older. In addition to that, they outsource their healthcare to doctors, and by the time something shows up on a scan, they're at stage 5 of disease progression and they have no idea how they got there. Ayurveda teaches you to become intimately aware of your body's signals. Get curious. Learn what your normal energy feels like, how your digestion behaves when it's strong, and what your sleep patterns are when you're balanced. Once you know your baseline, you can catch deviations early. If this video helped you, share it with someone you love. And if you're ready to dive even deeper into how to work with your body instead of against it, check out one of these videos right here. Remember, longevity isn't luck, it's a lifestyle. Until next time.